Prequel topic, travel counters prejudice. My wife Terry and I have just returned from a 2-week cruise covering several cities in, let me try and get this right, Turkey, that's Turkey, and Greece. So travel is on my mind. When I attended Lava's talk on diversity a few weeks ago, I recall that she asked all of us to answer a question, and I'm doing this from memory, so forgive me if I don't have it quite right. She asked each of us to consider this question: what can be done to achieve a more diverse, equal, inclusive society? I knew my answer in probably about 60 seconds. It was travel. Here's a quote from Mark Twain: travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness. Travel can have a transformative impact on our perspectives, attitudes, and the prejudices that often hinder our understanding of the world and its diverse inhabitants and cultures. It can bring us together. Traveling in its many forms has a unique ability to break down barriers and dismantle stereotypes. It opens doors to new cultures, languages, and people, creating opportunities for personal growth and expanding our horizons in ways that textbooks and documentaries cannot. Well, the elephant in the room would typically be, well, I can't travel, I have no money, or I don't have enough money. So if you're poor, how do you travel? Many colleges have travel abroad classes and programs. Foreign language programs offer experiences abroad, even at the city college level. I remember that. Apply for a grant. If you're willing to travel by train and stay in hostels, travel can be relatively inexpensive. You may have relatives that will help you. Remember, if you argue for your limitations, you get to keep them. Oh, I was behind a slide. There you go. That's my travel slide. Okay. In ancient societies, your tribe was everything. These are Picts in Scotland, by the way. Your entire existence was encapsulated within a group of remarkably similar people. Typically, they were all the same color. They adhered to the same beliefs. They had the same gods. Other groups outside yours were to be feared. In fact, anything outside of your group was fearful, whether it was other tribes, their gods, dress, appearance, traditions, anything about them. The ultimate punishment was banishment from the tribe. This was worse than death because your identity would be lost. So what happens in that worldview? We're not lacking it now, but I'll get onto that in a minute. When your worldview is filled with such fear and xenophobia, wars are the only thing that can happen. So do you think we've changed much? Yes and no. Many people and nations still engage in the same basic behaviors, encouraging prejudice, divisiveness, and war. Read or listen to the news on any day. You will see nations, blocks of political and military power, and groups of criminals engaging in this behavior. Autocracies of all types. Oh, I can't reach, hold on. There we go. Autocracies of all types, theocracies, politicians and criminals manipulate fears of the other outside your tribe to obtain and consolidate their power. This phenomenon is reflected on the base local level in gang behavior. Not a week goes by without one or several people losing their futures or lives in Santa Barbara County over internecine gang battles over turf and money. But this is really, it's the same thing. It's that tribal behavior. You can die for your neighborhood or you can die for a nation. So let's get on to happier things. How does travel address building a more civilized ethical, and more spiritually evolved way to live with each other? Got some answers. Exposure to diversity. It's the way it happens. You leave your country, you leave your tribe, you're placed in the middle of something brand new. It'll change you. One of the most effective ways to counter prejudice is through exposure to diversity. When we travel, we encounter people from diverse backgrounds, religions, races, and cultures. I was just in a couple of them. This exposure challenges preconceived notions and forces us to confront our biases. Think you don't have any? You do. As we meet people and experience their way of life, we realize our similarities often outweigh our differences. This realization is the first step towards breaking down prejudice. Empathy and understanding. Travel fosters empathy and understanding like few other experiences can. When we immerse ourselves in a foreign culture, we start to understand the daily challenges and triumphs that shape the lives of the people we meet. I'm going to take a drink. By the way, it is a little past midnight in Greece right now, and that's where I'm at still. So forgive me if I look a little blurry. We see the world from their perspective and began to empathize with their struggles. This newfound empathy erodes prejudice. That's what we want, as it humanizes those we once view as others. Different tribe, the other. Challenging stereotypes. Stereotypes are a product of ignorance and lack of exposure. Traveling allows us to challenge these stereotypes by experiencing the reality behind them. For example, a journey to a predominantly Muslim country, Turkey is one of those, probably about, Adrogen insists it's about 98.5%. It's not quite that high. For example, a journey to a predominant Muslim country may shatter the stereotype of Muslims as universally conservative. I don't know. As you meet individuals with diverse beliefs and lifestyles, well, that's true. Similarly, visiting a war-torn region might reveal stories of resilience and hope amid adversity, challenging preconceptions of constant despair. Cultural exchange. Travel often involves a two-way exchange where we not only learn about others, but also share our own culture. That happens automatically in values. This exchange fosters mutual respect and appreciation. As we engage in cultural dialogues, we realize that there is no single right way to live or believe. This understanding undermines the basis of prejudice, which often stems from the notion that one's own way of life is superior. Personal growth. We're almost through. Traveling pushes us out of our comfort zones and forces us to adapt to new environments and situations. Boy, we have some adapting, I'm telling you. This personal growth is an essential part of countering prejudice. When we confront challenges abroad, we become more resilient, strong, and open-minded, the opposite of being prejudiced. We learn that the world is a vast and complex place, and our prejudices can't encapsulate its richness. Breaking down fear. Prejudice often arises from fear of the unknown. This is xenophobia. Travel diminishes this fear by showing us that the world is not as threatening as we might have imagined. We discover that, despite our differences, people everywhere share common aspirations for peace, happiness, and security. This realization helps break down the walls of prejudice built upon irrational fear. The power of stories. My favorite. Traveling allows us to collect stories that can change the hearts and minds of those around us when we come back. When we return home and share our experiences, we become ambassadors of tolerance and understanding. Our stories become powerful tools for challenging the prejudices of our friends, family, and communities. So, traveling is a potent antidote to prejudice. It exposes us to diversity, nurtures empathy, challenges stereotypes, promotes cultural exchange, fuels personal growth, breaks down fear, and equips us with powerful stories of transformation. But it's essential to remember that the mere act of traveling is not enough. We must approach our journeys with an open heart and a willingness to learn. You can travel and not learn, but I don't recommend that. As we travel, let us recognize that the world is a tapestry of cultures, each with its own unique beauty and value. Let us embrace the opportunity to learn from one another and celebrate our shared humanity. In doing so, we not only counter prejudice, but also contribute to a more harmonious and understanding world for ourselves and future generations. Travel, just do it. By the way, this is my wife, Terry, in Ephesus, Turkey. I can't believe she actually knocked over that column. We got in so much trouble. In fact, it may be a while before we can go back there. This is in Ephesus where St. Paul wrote his epistles, by the way.